lover, I would surely find another to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, Lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, Lassie, go?
My name is Lauren Baker, and I teach in the sculpture department at Youngstown State University. As creators, how do we choose the type of work that we make? Amidst the COVID-19 outbreak, a lot of artists are being forced to re-examine the way their work is made. Modifying my artistic practice was something that I had to do when becoming a mother in 2016. It is extremely important to adapt to these shifts. As artists, it's crucial that we stay open, embracing alternative ways of making during life-changing events, and looking at these changes as an opportunity for personal growth and development. The first 5 images are works I've made since becoming a mother. My artistic practice had to change due to limitations related to energy and time. However, all of the work is conceptually intertwined. My work explores the space between familiarity and fantasy, between the organic and the contrived. My artistic practice is one of imagination, while drawing inspiration from biochemical formations, geological formations, the deep ocean, and outer space. These microscopic and macroscopic worlds pose larger questions about the reciprocal relationship between human beings and the environment to which we inhabit. The work titled Interstellar Radiation is an airbrushed, laser-cut acrylic drawing of a sulfur mineral. Often, the materials and processes I work with locate specific aspects of culture and time while speaking towards the chemical toxicity of the world we live in. Stibnite daydream is a formal study of the growth structure of a stibnite mineral. Thought to be a healing crystal with metaphysical properties that cure sadness and fear, it is paradoxically extremely toxic and used in pyrotechnics. My work focuses on ideas of the simulacra by faking the natural with highly synthetic, man-made materials, examining the honesty and dishonesty of materials, while disrupting preconceived notions of growth and entropy. This object intentionally falls short of transcendence, and I like to relate it to a quote by the art historian Michael Camille. The sculpture lacks a crucial dependency on resemblance and is a deviation and perversion of imitation itself. This deviation of the real grants the sculpture permission to tap into a multitude of associations and questions how we define representation. The form of this sculpture was based off of a salt mineral, covering a tree branch, salt mineral also known as a halite. The color was pulled from a picture of a coral reef. I often think of my work as a fake ecosystem or a form of experienced nature. The sculpture resides in the space between discrete object and installation. The viewer can peek into the form, but is denied entry. There is a struggle for immersion. This struggle for immersion allowed me to study the relationship between observer and object. Questioning, as viewers, do we look at art in a particular way over and over again? Is it a societal construct? And what parameters for viewing can I set up and remove? In the book Simulacra and Simulation, Jean Baudrillard states that the Disney castle is the ultimate simulation. His writings inspired this piece, which is based off of my own version of the Disney castle. I'm interested in the relationship between architecture, engineering, and sculpture. All of my large-scale sculptures were created using basic hand tools and can be disassembled and reassembled by myself. I started to make this kind of work in graduate school with uncertainty of the future in mind. I didn't want to feel reliant on others or a shop to be able to create large-scale sculptures. The structural components of this piece are made out of cardboard tubes, a protective barrier, yet permeable. This membrane shields the color of the form, creating a reveal-conceal effect. Again, trying to play with the parameters for viewing. The viewer cannot see all of the painted surface at once and has to work for the reveal, physically moving back and forth in space and looking up and down. I investigate how bodacious color, colossal scale, and tactile materials can affect the viewer's subconscious cerebral engagement. Examining how stimuli affects our perceptual and experiential capacities. Does this translate into a physical sensory experience? I am intrigued by the duality of color. Color can be both sensuous yet toxiogenic, attractive yet repulsive. When color is taken to an absurd degree, does it collapse in on itself and turn neutral, like static or white noise? What happens when our perceptions are completely overstimulated? Does this bombardment of color create a meditative experience, or does it become too much? Chocolate tastes good, but if you have too much, it becomes awful. How much is too much? Can one overdose on visual stimuli? This piece was made during an artist residency at Vermont Studio Center. I often think about the rules I place on myself as an artist and how to break myself of those rules. One way of doing so is by free falling and not worrying about what the work is about or what it should be. I have found this to be a liberating and cathartic experience and a way to push my work forward. I find it extremely important to remain open. More of my work can be viewed at laurenbaker.net. Thank you.
What good is sitting alone in your room? Come hear the music play. Life is a cabaret, old child. Come to the cabaret. Put down the knitting, the book and the broom. Time for a holiday. Life is a cabaret, old child. Come to the cabaret. Come taste the wine. Come hear the band. Come blow your horn. Start celebrating. Right this way, your table's waiting. No use permitting some prophet of doom to wipe every smile away. Life is a cabaret, oh child. Come to the cabaret. I used to have a girlfriend known as Elsie. my share for sordid rooms in Chelsea. She wasn't what you call a blushing flower. As a matter of fact, she rented by the hour. The day she died, the neighbors came to snicker. Well, that's what comes from too much pills and liquor. But when I saw her laid out like a queen, she was the happiest corpse I'd ever seen. I think they'll see to this very day. I remember how she turned to me and say, what good is sitting alone in your room? Come hear the music play. Life is a cabaret charm. Come to the cabaret. Put down the knitting, the book and the brew. Time for a holiday. Life is a cabaret charm. Come to the cabaret. And as for me, I made my mind up back in Chelsea. When I go, I'm going like Elsie. Start by admitting from cradle to tomb. Is it that long a stay? Life is a cabaret, old chum. Only a cabaret, old chum. And I love a cabaret.
Who are you?
I am Captain COVID, your new superhero.
Superhero? More like COVID-19, the villain. Stay back.
Oh, no, you misunderstand. I'm your new superhero. It's me that's responsible for you not having to go to school right now. In fact, I want you all to go out and have fun and play. Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't you and I go over to the neighbors and see if we can get their kids out and play a game of freeze tag, or maybe touch football. You know, games that involve touching hands and faces. What do you say?
That is not what my favorite superheroes have told me not to do.
What are you talking about? What superheroes?
Well, for starters, there's the great state of Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine and Dr. Amy Acton. They said so.
What, and you're going to listen to them? Those fools? They don't know what they're talking about. In fact, I'm not even sure Dr. Amy Acton is a real doctor.
Take it back.
And what are you going to do if I don't?
You'll see.
Oh, I'm scared.
Mother! There's a COVID virus in my room, and he wants me to go play games with the neighbor kids that involve touching. Take that.
Oh, I can't believe you called your mommy. Oh, and what's your mommy going to do?
You'll see.
Oh, I'm so scared. In fact, if I could wear boots, I would be shaking in them. Hi there. Allow me to introduce myself. I am dead. Take that, COVID-19. Nobody messes with my superheroes. Thank you, Mommy. Now, where was I? Let me see. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Du Hello, my name is Tony Armeni, and I'm an instructor in 3D design and sculpture at Youngstown State University. Over the years, I've had the privilege of designing and placing sculpture around the city. These bike rack sculptures that represent horns were funded by a grant from the Wien Foundation. Unlike most of my outdoor sculpture that is made of carbon steel that gradually oxidizes over time, these pieces are stainless steel and will remain a bright silver. Bloom is my response to a request from a homeowner who wanted an illuminated sculpture to be a feature in a large driveway. I've made several versions of star flowers that I consider to be mergers of the organic and mechanized worlds. A thread that runs through a lot of my work is that of scientific instruments. Is this a transmitter, a receiver, or just a mechanical flower? A few years ago, the National Endowment for the Arts awarded the city grant monies to fund 5 public art projects. I assembled a small team and designed a bus shelter. I worked with Ahrens, a local steel fabrication shop in North Lima. Working from a scale model, they deconstructed a shipping container and reconstructed it into this shelter. It was the most ambitious project that I've been involved with. I made some new friends and learned a lot more about steel fabrication. On several occasions, I talked with the people who used the existing shelter to learn how the new shelter could be best designed for the people who used it. I had several conversations with Rick Perko, the director of the Ward Beecher Planetarium. He had seen my work at one of the art festivals on campus and thought that my forms could be incorporated into a sundial. Before we were able to put a plan into action, he died unexpectedly. His colleagues in physics and astronomy approached me to see the project through as a tribute to Rick. This is a scientific instrument based on an equatorial bow sundial. I made an allowance for the time band to slide back and forth so it can be adjusted for daylight savings time. I had the good fortune of meeting Salvatore Attardo, a doctor of linguistics here at the university. He had an interest in making sculpture and asked me if I would teach him how to weld. So for several months I would show him metalworking techniques in exchange for his help in my studio. We made a great team and created several pieces of outdoor work. This piece is titled TASA for our initials, and it's a combination of a celestial sphere and creature. Grace is the merger of gentle skyward moving arcs and a helical midsection. It's loosely based on a figure that is paused mid-stride. Leve is the juxtaposition of long, gentle arcs surrounding a tight spherical form. It is part celestial model and creature, combining elements of the man-made world with those of the organic. Leve and Grace are in the art collection of the West Side Bowl, the new music venue on the west side of Youngstown. The lamppost is a whimsical combination of flat and round arcs. The lamp section is comprised of 2 hexagonal pyramids. I intended it to be seen as a figure in motion. Sentinella is a guardian that consists of mostly found materials. It's a combination of figure and scientific instrument. It sits outside of St. John's Church on Wick Avenue in Youngstown. Spoke is a recent collaborative piece that's installed on the corner of Wood and Hazel Streets in between the campus and downtown. I had the pleasure of working with 2 young artists, Ashley Dillon and Salsi Salama, and over the course of a couple of months last fall, we assembled this sphere. It consists of 3 spoke wheels that are joined at right angles. I'm able to construct the work that I do based on formal design principles that I learned as a student. As an instructor, I strive to pass along as much of this formal design information with the hope that my students will go on to excel in whatever discipline they choose.